Hey guys, my name is Manny. I currently am the owner of Phone Hut Cell Phone Repair here in San Jose. I started this business and I have another business that we're going to be opening up actually in about March. So this store and then the second store we're going to open up in March in Santa Clara. And then I also have we're doing distribution on the side. So I carry some of my products in Fry's Electronics. So we have some accessories in there, we got some shelf space. But the first business where it all started was cell phone repair. So what I did is I really didn't need that much money, and that was one reason I didn't get any loans. I didn't get borrow money from anybody. It was a really, the way I did it was very cost effective. I started out of my garage. I think when you first met me, I was doing business out of my garage. And the reason I did that was I saw a lot of other people who did businesses, and they made the mistake of going too big too quick. So I just, I stayed small. I started out of my garage. I built my clientele. I built a really good reputation. And because I didn't have the overhead, I didn't have the employees, I didn't have any of that, I was able to make that work. And once I got the money, I got the clientele, I was able to move into here, move into a bigger spot, and take it to the next level, have employees, and lose some of the responsibility that I initially had. But initially, in the beginning, it was just grind, work hard for like 2 years, until I got to the point where I could kind of back off a little bit and leave some of the responsibility to someone else. Since I was coming out, I had a pretty good job before this. I was in corporate, and I was in there for about 4 or 5 years. So I was making pretty good money. It was a pretty good job. It had good prestige. So when I told my friends and a lot of my family that hey, I was quitting, my family wasn't very. They were a little against it, especially being a traditional Indian family. They're very on par with hey, having a job that has prestige. And telling them that I'm quitting a job that hey, a lot of you kind of wish your son to have, and that you were able to tell other people, hey, my son does this, and be able to say I'm quitting and I'm gonna start my own business. It's too risky for them. And they're think hey, you don't know anything about it. You're gonna start a business out of the garage. You're making this much money. Why are you doing that? So the support wasn't really there much from a lot of my family. Nevertheless, when I did take the action, I did quit. Being the family they did support me and they were there. But initially, when I told them about the idea, what I want to do, everybody was usually against it. But my advice with that is honestly go with your gut. If you know you can do it, if you feel you can do it, do it. Don't let anyone else tell you, hey, this is not for you. You decide what's for you and you take it. And I was confident that I was going to be able to do it. And I was confident what I wanted to do because I wanted to quit school. I wanted to quit my job, go to school, and start a business. And that's exactly what I did, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying it. I love it. So business, I think a lot of the first things that people think a lot of times when they start a business is get a loan, get a business loan, and just do that. You want to start off bootstrapping, meaning you take some loans from your friends, take some loans from your family if you can. The business loan should be your last priority. If you have to, then you take it. But don't jump to the gun and just take a business loan first, because then you're just building debt for yourself for no reason. Use friends and family and just make sure you and make everything in writing. When you borrow money from your friends, borrow money from your family, make sure everything's in writing. You make them comfortable because these are people who are, that you love. They're giving us their money. So make sure that you get in writing, make them feel comfortable that we're taking money from you, but we're gonna pay you back. And if it turns out that hey, for whatever reason you can't, you still need more money, then you can proceed to the next step and take that business loan. But I think starting off, check out alternatives first and stay away from that. How I basically started was I was at Fry's, I was in corporate, and I was in the telecom department. So I was the one that was in charge of all the stores, buying the telecom products for them. And one of the things we did was we were in the business of parts. So I saw that, and I saw there was an industry in that where people were trying to buy their own phones and kind of repair them, and saw there was this good traction. There was a good traction in that. A lot of people were trying to fix their phones. So from there, I just said, hey, this is a good niche market. There's not too many big built businesses in San Jose at that time. So I decided I was just going to go into that and take over. And that's one thing I really did. Is I took over social media. Yelp, I was number one, where a lot of people didn't concentrate. It was still kind of coming to the age where Yelp was still getting big. So I was able to just take advantage of that, get ahead of it, and keep that 5-star, my reviews on Yelp, Google, everything, and I was able to quickly build my business from there. The customer service, man. I gave, even you guys think I gave you pretty good customer service. People wanted to come. I was at my house, so I had a lot of, I was able to work around a lot of hours. I wasn't closing at this time or this time. So even when sometimes people wanted to come before work at 7 o'clock in the morning, even though I'm open to now, I was like, hey, that's fine, come in, I'll do your phone really quick, I'll go back to sleep if I need to. You wanted to come at 10 o'clock and I pick up your phone, that wasn't a problem. It was just going above and beyond a little bit. And the biggest thing was I talked to my customers. I always try to find out, what would happen to their phone and just open up that conversation. And instead of them just coming in, dropping off the phone and leaving, or they don't remember your name, they don't remember who you are. If they're there, you have a conversation with them, they'll remember you. And they'll come back, they'll recommend you to other people. And it's just building that connection. Anybody can drop off phone and leave, but they might never come back because they don't remember you. So if they remember you, they will definitely come back, and they'll remind other people too. I think start small. Honestly, don't get ahead of yourself. Everybody wants to have a huge business. Everybody wants to have a corporation. You also want to have sort of but I think that's, like I said earlier, that's the mistake people make. Start small. Find the niche in your market. Don't try to do everything too. A lot of people that come in, like even for cell phone repair, I started with just cell phone repair, and then I branched onto tablets, and now we're doing a little bit of computers, now we're doing accessories. We're starting to do a little bit of software, these kind of things. But just starting off, I stuck with just one thing and I found a niche, and then I built around that. And I think instead going in the beginning and just saying I'm gonna do everything would have been really hard, because then I would have all these extra parts I would have had to have that at the time I didn't have money to afford. So it's just going too big in the beginning probably would have screwed me, because I wouldn't be able to build all the customers from all these parts I needed for tablets, for computers, for this. And that's what benefits you. I just start small, find your niche in the market. Don't try to do everything. Find what people want and find what you can offer them with the best quality, and do that. And from there, once you build that, you branch out. In day-to-day problems, honestly, you're just gonna run into a lot. Especially once you get to a certain point where you're getting to a little bit bigger. You got more expenses, you got bills. And initially, one of the biggest things for me, I think one of the biggest things for a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning, is once you get to that stage where you got more bills, you got more money coming in and out, is managing all that. And I think day to day, that's the biggest thing, is keeping track of everything, keeping track of everything that's going out, keeping track of everything going in. Because at one point, you want to become 100% legit. You want to take your business to where you can build it rapidly, you can even start franchising out, whatever it may be. But to do that, even if I want to sell my business, everything needs to be recorded, and that's really hard. Coming from especially from a garage, coming from to a shop, to make it that more legitimate. And I at one point now, what I do, I have a bookkeeper. And it's my sister, but she does all my bookkeeping for me. Instead of trying to do everything myself, where I'm going to school, I'm running the business, I'm doing the repairs, we're ordering all the parts, we're doing everything, and I'm doing the bookkeeping on top. You'll lose a little bit of money out of your pocket, but in the long run, that's going to be so much more beneficial for you, because then you're not going to be 2 years down the line, IRS comes to you and you're trying to figure out what's going on, or even at the end of the year trying to do your taxes and you don't have any of the paperwork. So, and I think that's a lot of causes, because honestly, if the IRS comes after you, your business is screwed. You could be done, because you have to pay all the back taxes. So that's it. So keep precautionary, take those measures beforehand so you don't have to pay for it. I know I wanted to do my business, I knew I wanted to do this, but I never really expected this to take off to where it is now. I was thinking of this more as a side business while I go to school. School was my main priority. I didn't want to be 40 and sitting on a sofa and thinking, hey, I wish I'd gone to school. And then at that point, it's too late, because hopefully I got a family and kids by then. Hopefully I'm not single by 40, but if it is. And that was my biggest thing. And then once I got into it and I saw that, I was in my garage and I saw those people coming into my garage. If people are actually coming to get this service, imagine if I had a store, what I could do with this. So from there, I decided that I wanted to concentrate on this, and I got this, and like I said, another store coming. So I just went with it. But initially, my initial thought quitting was I really wanted to go to school, because I wanted the experience, and I think you meet a lot of people in school that you can use in business, especially. But initially, I think it was deciding, like in the beginning, hey, what business to do is probably the hardest thing. And sometimes I told people, just take that leap of faith, just jump into it, do it. And then once you're in it, then you'll see the ins and outs. You'll see other opportunities here. Once I saw the accessory business, I could do this. I saw I could sell parts to Prize and all the other guys. So once I was in it, I was able to see all these other revenue sources that I could do. But initially, from the outside, you're not gonna know until you take that leap of faith. And just jump in and just do it. Then you're done. You'll find a lot more sources. the thing is great. I think a lot of people, honestly, a lot of people aren't meant to work for people. A lot of people don't know how to take direction. And it's not a bad thing necessarily that you don't know how to take direction, because sometimes the direction you're taking isn't good direction. So you shouldn't take it. And for a lot of those people, entrepreneurship and doing your own thing is the right way to do it. Just go out and, you be your own boss. You hold yourself responsible. And honestly, and another thing is there's a lot of people, they're hard workers. I've seen people who, even at corporate, who are honestly way harder workers than I worked. And I saw all those people, and I was told them too, and I talked to them, hey, if you put this much work, you put this much potential that you have into yourself instead to another company, you can do so much with it. So I think there's a lot of people out there who could do entrepreneurship, who a lot of times, and honestly, I understand a lot of people can't take the risk, because I was young, I didn't have a family, I didn't have all these expenses. Some people got families, kids, and all that, so you can't take that risk. But if you're under 30, you're single, that's the time for you to take advantage of it. And I think it's a lot easier than I think people think. Because a lot of people have the skills, they just want to use them the right way. Even for me, when I quit Verizon, that first week or first 2 weeks, I was like, what the fuck did they do? What the hell did I do? Excuse my language. But that was my inside. I was thinking. I would wake up in the morning, kind of like doubting myself. Even probably I'd say 3-4 months through the business, when it wasn't picking up like crazy at 120. I didn't have a lot of money. It came from making a stable check every 2 weeks. I would get a check to not knowing sure if I'm gonna get some money tomorrow, or if I'm gonna have money, can I pay, whatever it is, and just doubting myself. But stick with it, and I was able to get through it. And the reason I stuck with it, because I was confident in myself, and I knew I could do it. And I think, like I said, you guys are doing this. You're entrepreneurship. You're doing all these other things, and there's so many people I know who can do it, who don't do it. And I'm always telling them to try it. It's really not that hard with the skill set you have.
Yeah, that's great.